Imagine this, a sleek Manhattan hotel suite buzzing with stylists, assistants, and PR teams. Meghan sits before the mirror, every curl and contour perfected, calling it their return to grace. Harry stands near the window, phone in hand, gazing over the New York skyline with a quiet smile. Tonight was supposed to be the moment, the night they reminded the world that the name Sussex still carried weight, charm, and power. The NYC Humanitarian Awards had invited them to receive a special honor for their charitable work. Cameras were prepped, headlines drafted, and every minute of their appearance was choreographed, from wardrobe to security to, yes, even their flight plan. Then the call came. A representative from the awards committee informed their team that the couple's request for a fully sponsored private jet had been declined. No explanations. Just a polite but firm, "We're unable to accommodate that." For two people accustomed to red carpets and royal treatment, that simple no landed like a thunderclap. Harry was reportedly livid. Meghan, stunned. To them, it wasn't about luxury, it was about respect. They weren't asking for a jet, they were asking to be treated as the icons they still believed themselves to be. But this time, the world didn't bow. To understand why that single rejection stung so deeply, we have to rewind, back to Paris. Everyone thought that would be Meghan Markle's grand comeback. Her I'm back and unstoppable moment. She sat front row at Balenciaga, chin lifted, cameras flashing, but behind the sparkle, the atmosphere was frosty. There were no warm smiles, no friendly greetings, just tight glances and polite silence. Fashion insiders whispered that Meghan hadn't been truly invited. Her designer outfit? Not a gift, a rental, still tagged. In that exclusive world, borrowed clothes send a quiet message, you don't belong here. And then came the whispers about her taking a drive through that tunnel, the same tragic one where Princess Diana's life ended. Meghan allegedly claimed she didn't realize its significance. But those who know her best found that hard to believe. To many, it looked like an imitation taken too far, a woman chasing the ghost of a legend, rather than becoming her own. When she left Paris, the camera still clicked, but the warmth was gone. The applause was civil, not sincere. The city that once mourned Diana had no affection left for imitation. So when the NYC Awards invitation came, Meghan saw it as redemption. Her chance to erase Paris, to prove that the crownless duchess still commanded the spotlight. Every detail was micromanaged, the glam, the arrival, the route, even the jet. This wasn't just an event, it was an escape from humiliation. But when that phone call came, when the private jet request was refused, it wasn't just a scheduling hiccup. It was déjà vu Paris all over again. Another quiet message from the world, the spell is fading. Officially, the NYC Humanitarian Awards celebrate people changing lives, the unsung heroes, the givers, the humble doers. But behind the scenes, Harry and Meghan's team treated it more like a Hollywood premiere. Every email was precise, every request extravagant, from lighting specs to what brand of water bottles should sit in their dressing room. Then came the request that changed everything: the sponsors should cover their private jet to New York. The reasoning? Optics and safety. Their spokesperson allegedly argued that commercial travel could invite chaos, cameras, crowds, unpredictable exposure. In other words, the jet wasn't a luxury, it was a necessity. But to the organizers, it sounded tone-deaf. This event honored humility and service, not celebrity comfort. When the denial came, it was quiet, but firm. An insider put it bluntly: if you're here to celebrate humanitarian work, maybe start by practicing humility. And that's when the cracks started to show. What was once royal privilege now looked like entitlement, and not even New York's elite wanted to bankroll that image anymore. After the rejection, Harry's team pushed back hard. Their defense was all about safety, pointing back to Paris, claiming Meghan had been hunted after the Balenciaga show. But eyewitnesses told a different story. The chaos that night wasn't random. Her route had been public. Photographers had been tipped off. What looked like a media ambush felt more like a staged moment gone wrong. Even the drive through the Pont de l'Alma tunnel, the same one Diana died in, was allegedly filmed accidentally. But insiders weren't buying it. They believed Meghan knew exactly what she was doing, reaching for Diana's emotional legacy to reignite her own relevance. And that's why the New York request felt so hollow. It wasn't about privacy anymore. It was about control, controlling the image, the story, the frame. And when the awards committee refused, it wasn't just about money. It was about saying no to that control. Behind closed doors, the truth was simple. The Paris incident had proven that not every flashbulb is a threat. Sometimes, it's just ambition reflecting back too brightly. At the Foundation's headquarters, the discussion was direct. They knew the Sussexes would draw cameras and headlines, but also controversy. When the jet request hit the boardroom, one executive asked, "If we fund their travel, what message does that send to the honorees who expect nothing in return?" That sealed it. The answer was unanimous: no special treatment. The decision wasn't public, but within Harry and Meghan's circle, it was an earthquake. For the first time in years, they were reminded that their names alone no longer guaranteed VIP treatment. The PR spin came quickly, stories about scheduling mix-ups and logistical confusion. But insiders knew better. This was a power shift. The Sussex brand, once built on royal glamour and celebrity charm, was quietly losing its shine. It's almost poetic, in a way. Harry left the royal family to find freedom, yet he's still chasing validation, permission to matter. That's why the denial hurt. It wasn't about a plane. It was about being told, "You're not special anymore." Since stepping away, Harry has battled the tabloids, the British government, and the royal system itself, framing it all as a fight for justice. But critics say the real issue is simpler. Harry never learned how to live without privilege. He traded palaces for mansions, crowns for cameras, and royal duty for brand deals, but the expectation stayed the same. That's the real message behind the NYC rejection. It wasn't cruelty, it was a reality check. Because titles and fame mean nothing without respect to back them. So when the night of the awards finally arrived, there was no jet gliding across the Atlantic, no grand motorcade slicing through Manhattan traffic, just a quiet black SUV slipping through city lights. Inside it sat two people once adored by millions, now facing a truth too heavy to ignore. Their smiles still attract cameras, but for different reasons now. It's not hate. It's exhaustion. The world has simply moved on. The jet that never left the runway became a symbol of how privilege fades when it mistakes itself for purpose, and how influence vanishes the moment humility disappears. For years, Harry and Meghan have told their story, of struggle, of courage, of breaking free. But the story people see now is quieter. Lonelier. Because when applause turns to silence, and opportunity turns to indifference, you're left with one question: what do you stand for when the spotlight goes out? As this chapter closes, one thing feels undeniable: the Sussexes aren't running out of headlines. They're running out of second chances. The jet stayed grounded, but maybe, just maybe, so did they.